All right, this is the instructional video for multi-view sketching classwork, problem 2 and 3. So this one is 2 and this one is 3. So if you're doing this at home and you can print this out, that's totally fine. You're going to print it out. And if you can't print it out at home and you're going to use Google Draw instead, you're going to follow these steps, but then when we get to drawing the lines in, if you're doing this on paper, it's going to be the same stuff. All right, so what I'm going to do is copy my image and then go to Insert, Drawing, New. Paste. Sometimes you got to click on the screen. All right, so this is placed in. So now if you were to do this on paper, you'd have the same instructions past this point. So first we're going to want to draw in some construction lines for our object because we need to draw the front view of this object here. So what I'm going to do is use the line tool, and if you were using this on paper, obviously you'd have a pencil and a ruler. So I'm going to take this line and continue it down. And these lines I'm going to want to do rather thin because they're supposed to be construction lines. If you want to, and it helps you to separate them, you can swap the color for red and use, let's see, what size is this? 1 point. So you want it to be a fairly thin line. Okay, and then I can take this next one and bring it down. So you're going to want to make sure that these lines are as straight as possible. If you are doing this with a ruler on paper, it might be a little bit easier, but if you're doing this on Google Draw, it could be a little bit more challenging. Okay, so let's see, did I miss any? I have these 3 lines up, this one right here. So we're going to bring this down. And again, if you're using a touchpad and you want to get your lines straight when you put them in, if you click on the arrow afterwards, you can click on the end dots and just kind of like scoot them wherever you need to put them. So if you do put it in crooked, you can fix it. Okay, so that's all the lines going down. So now let's go on to our right side and bring our lines over. I'll start at the bottom. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's another line. You can see that these are not perfect. They're as close as I can get. All right, let's get this top edge. And oh, I almost forgot this one. Okay, so now we have all our construction lines placed in. So now we need to figure out what our object lines would be. So what lines do we need to darken up? So if you're doing this with paper, you're obviously going to make your lines darker. If you're doing this on Google Draw, then you might just, well, draw the line again and just make it darker. So I can see on my shape, I kind of have an L here, this very bottom edge. So this is the height of it. So I can draw that in. And I want it to be black. And it should be kind of twice as thick as the construction line. So let's see if that works out. All right, and then our next line, okay, this entire bottom edge is used. All right, yeah, so that was a good line thickness. All right, so let's see, this little section is, let's see that little section, so this top line to that one gets darkened. And then if we look over here, this goes up. So we can add that in. All right, and then we kind of need to make this L, so we need to kind of connect these. So we can bring this down and then move this over. All right, now that we have our base shape, now we need to look at this and see, are there any hidden lines we need to add in? So looking at this, we can see that there's this notch cut out, and then there's this bottom notch. So looking at the top notch, you can see that we would have a hidden line right here. So I'm going to place my line in. So this regular line won't work. So instead, we need to have a dashed line. Okay, so if you're using Google Draw, it's the third option is the one you're going to want to use. Um, this one isn't quite the right one. So the third option is the best one. All right, so this notch on the bottom part, we can see it comes from here. And we can draw it in. Oh, and Google Draw apparently saved my settings. So that's nice. All right, so that is what it's going to look like. So then save and close. And if you're somebody that printed this, you're just going to take a photo and then place it in. So please remember to don't erase your construction lines or your points that you add in. I do want to see where you're drawing everything from. And then once you're done with problem 2, you're going to move on to problem 3.